We will call the town board meeting for September 4th, 2024 to order. First item is the agenda. Patrick, any changes?
No, we're going to pull something just to tweak it at consent, but no changes to the overall agenda, Mr. Chair.
Board have anything?
What are we going to pull? We're not pulling something?
We'll tell you when we get to.
When you get there.
Oh, it's a secret.
Okay.
I know. International man of mystery over
I would
there.
like to add something at the end for Township Days, just a brief statement.
Want to do that added agenda item?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
All right, hearing none, I need a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the agenda with some secretive addition or deletion.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Okay,
Should I second that? I will.
just,
Sounds dangerous.
we're going to delete something in the consent agenda, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so
Revise it.
revise.
Okay.
Okay, I move to approve the revised consent or agenda.
Second.
All right, motion made and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, item 3, payment of bills.
I signed off. I'll move to approve payment of the bills.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that carries. Approval of the minutes from August 19, 2024. Anybody got any corrections?
Looked good to me.
I saw none. Move to approve the minutes from the meeting of August 19th.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, number 5, consent agenda item. We have 7.
Mr. Attorney, did you want to?
I would just recommend you pull 5C, just so we can discuss it. I just need a quick revision, recommend a quick revision to it, that's all.
That's 5C as in Charlie?
Yes.
Yes.
That is your new business?
Yeah, new business be the place for it.
Okay.
But it will be very quick.
Board okay with everything else?
Yep.
Yes. I'm going to move approval of the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so you want to pull that as 5C? This is the videographic contract?
Right.
Videographer,
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Chair.
I knew it was a secret for some reason.
It's okay.
All right. We have no old business. We have no public hearings, so we'll move on to 8. Is a new business. Highway 96 corridor landscape maintenance discussion.
Mr. Chair, I did bring this up to the board at our executive work session a couple weeks ago. The board did request that I get some more information in your package. You'll see some correspondence between myself and the administrator at Vadnais Heights. I also just wanted to add that we did find a cooperative agreement with Ramsey County and the township regarding construction and maintenance of those medians. This is a request coming from Vadnais Heights, though, to split costs of, I guess, revitalizing those medians. And I'm not sure if that changes the context of the agreement that we have with Ramsey County. I would, before we make any kind of a decision or commitment, if you're even interested in it, I would advise that the township attorney review the co-op agreement and see if it going in on a new median with Vadnais would violate any of those terms. So, but as it stands right now, what Vadnais has requested of us is splitting a cost of approximately $100,000 to revitalize and replace what's growing there with native grass and species along those lines that require very little maintenance. Right now, our public works crew does very little, if any, maintenance with those. And I guess the goal with the native species there is to maintain it, or to maintain a small level of commitment to maintaining those. So anyway, the co-op agreement I found was from December 8th, 1998. It actually includes us and Vadnais, between us and Ramsey County.
So from my perspective, I'm interested in, myself, I'm interested in hearing more about it, but yes, I'd like Chad to look at that to make sure
Okay.
that was the agreement. I mean, I was totally unaware that there was a maintenance agreement. Obviously, we all are. And that 100,000, is that our portion of the contribution? It's half, so.
Half of that.
50 in there. they have a landscaper that is giving them a bid for 100,000?
Correct.
Because, I don't,
Just saw it. Suppose we should probably see that, right?
probably should
Yep.
see
Well,
that.
now is that the only bid, or did they put it out for bids and that was the lowest?
Yeah.
I mean, it's normally our procedure.
And what's included, is that concrete work or just tree replacement?
Concrete work and replacement of
Curbs,
all that.
pavers? Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see
Okay.
Yeah, I'd
the
like to
whole
see.
package.
Well, wait a minute, didn't when the road was, when they were done, didn't the county do that and we just did the landscaping? They did all the concrete?
They did all the work and then they turned it back to us,
And
if I
Vadnais.
recall, to maintain it.
Okay, but that would only be maintaining landscaping, green space. Why are we chipping in for concrete and pavers?
It's part of the median. But yeah, I see your point.
I don't understand, that to me seems like that shouldn't be our deal.
Well, if it was I'm not sure though, if it was a turn back though, once that's done, then it's,
Wow.
if the terms say it's our responsibility to fix it. That's the same problem we're gonna face on the boulevard if,
But I don't,
Anything.
now that's why we need to know if it is really a turnback or we just agreed to maintain their island. It's
well, it
not
was
if
turned back from a state aid road to a county road and then turned over to the medians apparently, it looks like
So
too.
we own the medians?
No, we just maintain
No.
them.
Okay, then they're not our medians. We didn't build them. So I'm back to,
Not quite that easy.
Chad, would you please?
in my
review
brain
the-
it is.
Would you please review the contract and report back to us?
Because Shoreview and Arden Hills have the same issues all the way down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except they consistently maintain their medians.
It appears to be the case.
Yes. Especially Shoreview does.
Yeah.
Now, Dale did also caution us that to make sure that if we do go the way of getting into this co-op with Vadnais, that we end that co-op at the railroad tracks.
Yeah, it's the border. That's fair.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, Vadnais had a heavier duty of maintenance because they have the noise wall on their side.
Yep.
That includes
I
maintenance.
think you're right.
All right, well, are you looking for a motion to?
Well, actually, you know what? Let's table this. It's not going to happen this year anyway. Let me get the bids that Kevin and Vadnais put out and what they got in return, and have Chad review the co-op agreement just to make sure we're not going to be outside the terms. So
I guess, like I said, I would like to see if that was their only bid or if they put it out for bids.
Okay.
What it includes, what's the nature of what kind of planting.
that's all fair. And I apologize. I should have asked him for that. So, but anyway,
Well, he said just give it a fresh look, so I guess that we're giving it a fresh look.
yeah,
Yep, a lot of ash trees.
yeah,
Not so much now.
not anymore.
All right, so I'd make a motion to table this
Table
till
it.
the first meeting in October.
Let me see if I can get it the second meeting here in September.
It's pretty busy, but okay.
Yeah, I'll try. If I can't, yeah, we'll get it in October.
Need a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
All fair, say aye.
Thanks.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, moving on. Ramsey County Sheriff's Office Contract Service Agreement.
This is Chad's input on our current re-up with our CSO.
Did you see my notes, my comments?
Yes.
Any questions about those comments at all?
Is this, all right, not so much the comments, I saw those, very good. Is this changes to the current contract? So these are,
Actually, as I understand it, this is more or less the first time they've actually drafted a contract.
okay,
Yeah. So, and Chad, I guess to answer your question, Tom, if I'm understanding it right, Chad's comments are the changes that we would suggest to his
that
comments.
was going to be my
I'm sorry.
next question. I see the comments and you're recommending we discuss or?
Well, I can go over them quickly.
Sure.
3.3, I mean, the question there is if there's any kind of issue about personnel assignments or, in general, with the exception of maybe requesting replacing or switching deputies, whatever decision they make, that's it. They cover everything, which is probably acceptable for certain interdepartmental personnel issues, but there may be issues that, well, I'll give an example. Like I said, I did give an example, is what happens if they decide, the deputies decide, well, okay, Mike needs a deputy to help him with an inspection. And they decide we're not going to do it. The way this is written, there's no discussion. They make a decision, that's it.
So would this contract be coming from the Ramsey County Attorney's Office? Is that who
I'm
would do
sure it
theirs?
did.
Sure it
So
did.
that's theirs. So in your point, I think is well taken. Is there something you would recommend to draft in there for consideration that would give us at least a panel to review it versus take it or leave it?
Would probably be what we'd really looking for is not, I prefer to deal, this is the kind of issue I want to deal with ahead of time so that it's clear that if Mike needs help, they'll be there. More of a proactive report, I would like to be proactive on this issue. Because the dispute did come up in Shoreview regarding whether or not they'd assist the building codes department in Shoreview with an enforcement action. So that's why,
Well, I agree with it, doing it up front, but I mean, is there language that you could recommend to put in here that would help alleviate that? Or at least,
off the top of my head, no, but I can come up with some language for the next meeting.
And I'm not, I wanted to get it in front of you guys too, because this is the first contract that has been presented this way since I've been here. And I'm not sure how we go about making suggested changes to their proposed contract.
well, again, that's why I asked if it was the Ramsey County Attorney's Office, find out who the contact person is there and have some dialogue between our council and on the issues that kind of give us a little pause and see if there's an understanding, because if that hasn't been a contract in the past, it's their first attempt at it also, and they may realize after Chad's commentary that maybe there is room for language that will make us less.
So the what Chad was referring to with Shoreview, the deputies in their hesitancy to go on site with Mike and troubled properties and that kind of thing have referenced that the RCS or the Ramsey County Attorney has recommended that they don't. I think that's going to be a tough battle.
Well, we're a contract of theirs, and that's our law enforcement.
I totally get it.
So that's why I said it might be best that it's easy for an attorney sitting in downtown St. Paul, not out in the real world, other than hearing one side, to come up with this conclusion where maybe it'll shed a little light on the reality that we're dealing with.
I hate to be dumping stuff on you to do, Chad, but I more I thought about it after I got off the phone from you about this the other day. I think that's probably the best course.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'll talk to the,
Let's go through the other things you recommend. I think that's a good example.
okay, 4.2 is the question of, we indemnify them, but they don't indemnify the township or the town board. And I talked about this with Joe Kelly, and as he sees it, really, because it's a contract situation, we're not really responsible for how they do things. But that's not the point. The point is not, are we responsible, is can we get drawn into a lawsuit? And really, they should be, if we get named as a defendant in due to an action of a deputy, then they ought to indemnify us. It's that simple. Again, I can talk to the attorneys about that. I mean, we would probably get dismissed pretty quickly, but still someone has to pay for the cost of getting dismissed.
Does this
Why should it be the township?
Yeah. Would getting named in a lawsuit, would that be covered under our insurance?
League of
League of City?
I would say it probably does, but I can't say for sure. But I would expect it would be.
Okay.
Is this contract the same as all the other contract cities? They're getting the same thing?
They're getting the same contract.
Have you had feedback from any of them?
I talked to Joe Kelly about it. And he didn't see a problem with, he's already had an issue with them already, with the county attorney, at least in terms of what I recommend in 3.3. 4.2, he didn't see a problem there because of the fact it's a contract situation. In terms of 6.2, yes, he saw the same problem I saw, which is, well, I don't want to be too cynical, but there's absolutely no, how do we know how they're shifting costs internally?
We pay you to be cynical, Chad.
Yeah, well, it's my job. So, I mean, that's the concern there is there's, the way it's written is the contracting municipalities have no say in how they shift their internal costs around. They could be front-loading this, they could be shifting a lot of costs onto the sheriff, who then shifts it onto the municipalities. Now, naturally, we don't pick up all their costs, so the sheriff does have some incentive to question how costs are being shifted, but there's not that much incentive that we need to be concerned about that. Yeah. And personally, I don't know how we'd handle that one. Because, I mean, I see why they're doing what they're doing. They're basically saying, look, we have costs that are outside the sheriff's department.
Yep.
That relate, but we have expenses related to operating the sheriff's department that don't appear in the sheriff's budget, per se. So I can understand that to a point. But my concern is, would the county be tempted to shift costs to the sheriff for the sole purpose of having the contracting municipalities bear a higher burden of expenses?
I got to go back to the beginning here. We've had Ramsey County Sheriff's Department for a long time. What kind of contract have we had previously?
None that I know of.
We just signed we signed a piece of paper. You're our sheriff department?
Pretty much you dropped a resolution and that's it.
Oh.
Those days are gone.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it is really for everyone's best interest to have a contract, so you have terms of agreement.
Totally agree.
So the best step, if this is the first go-round, I still think is for Chad to dig into it with those that be. And if he's got other municipalities that are in the same situation, their issues should be pretty well the same.
So I guess not to speak for Chad here, but I think what Chad needs to know is if there's any additional comments plus what he has submitted here, get them to him quickly. And I know you're going to go home and read every word of this contract and come up with your thoughts and recommendations. But
Well, can we have them submit to us an actual line item budget for their expenditures?
we've got,
So we can see.
we have that.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. So we see what the breakdown is for us and what it all includes.
Yeah, we do.
So what does that include all of a sudden a raise because they decide to build a new sheriff's building? I don't know.
It's a complicated formula, Ed.
I'm
Tell you right now.
Tommy, you better take that one.
You got the contract. You got the.
I'm guessing that there's many deeper issues than just this, but because the sheriff's budget has gotten out of hand at times, according to the county attorneys or the Ramsey County Commissioner saying that he thinks he needs a larger budget, and he may be bringing up things that, and then they find out he doesn't have a contract, so now they're trying to pin it down as to who's paying for what. So right now it's open-ended.
Typically in the past, I've presented the proposed budget from the sheriff's office to the safety committee, and they've just kind of
Yeah.
saluted, and Tom works it into his budget. If you'd like, I'll put it in for executive committee at the end of this month, just as an FYI, and if we want to have discussion on it, we're absolutely. But outside of that, Chad needs to get or have a discussion with the attorney there on this contract specific before the 13th.
Of October?
No, of September.
Oh, for our budget purpose.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
Well,
But,
because when you move on to 6.3, this is more insurance coverage again. So it sounds like a lot of this is centered around who's going to pay what when the things go south.
Well, in,
And that's the problem with self-insurance.
Yeah.
Steve, you're the expert in that area,
Yes.
so I defer to you on that.
yeah, that is a problem because it's a shift, and they're trying to figure out how much they're going to have to share the burden of, or how much then they push off onto contract cities who have some insurance, but we don't want it to be open-ended either on this. So he needs to do some work quickly, I guess.
And, Steve, did you read 6.3?
I did.
And my concern is the fact that with self-insurance, are we going to be held responsible for a share of any settlement they make?
Well, that's why I asked about our own insurance, where that's going to dovetail into this, because we lose control. We lose control of what we'll do because we have insurance, and if they say you're going to pay $1 million, we're going to pay $1 million, and your portion is, well, where's our insurance at this? We cannot tie our insurance company to any settlement without their involvement. So it's complicated.
And when I read that, I thought about it and thought, were they referring only to, insurance premiums they pay for their, surplus lines?
I don't.
Or are they talking about the whole thing?
Well, see, I don't.
It's unclear.
It's unclear, and limited to automobile general liability insurance cost or the cost of a self-insurance program. The city of Minneapolis, for example, is self-insured. All the George Floyd stuff, settlements, come out of the taxpayer's coffer. That's a self-insurance program.
Right.
They don't have any. We, as a municipality, we have a League of Cities that step in our behalf and pay up to our liability limits for what damages we would be held for.
So I think really what I should do is actually running this clause past, that language past the
League.
league's insurance trust.
Yeah, because you can't commit them to anything, but I would say that's the same for all the contract cities. If they're all parties to the league, they would have the same issue.
When's your next meeting, Patrick?
What's that?
When's your next
I
meeting?
was just gonna say it's the third Thursday this September. So what's that? The 19th?
So you're going to hear some grumbling with the other contract cities.
Yep.
And this
So
is-
they were asking for it by the 13th so that we could have a discussion about it at our next meeting. So,
I'll get it done.
okay.
But those are my thoughts on the
I
think
think they're sound.
I think we salute you, Chad. Aye, Captain.
Let's see what happens.
So realistically, there's two big issues. One is insurance, and the other is unknown costs passed down to us that we don't really have any say in, because we don't know what we're paying for.
And we don't know how they're shifting costs internally. That's the big thing.
It is.
Okay.
All right, to be continued. So what's the date today?
Today's 4th.
So, I don't know, can this wait till our exec meeting?
So we meet on the 16th here, so it's got to,
That's a board meeting.
yeah, we don't meet till the, let's see.
Well, unless you know something beforehand, or if you got a better understanding what's going on.
Get an answer, I'll let you, I'll
Okay.
inform Pat right away, but I'm not expecting to get a fast answer. Simply because, we're talking about some fundamental, policy issues here they have to discuss internally.
All right.
Dial 911, it'll be faster.
Yeah, right.
All right, you want to go back to the consent agenda, item 5C?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that's pretty easy. Basically, the only issue I had, let me get back to it here. Just added some, in fact, I've already added Lisa and I spoke about this, and Patrick and then Lisa and I spoke about this before the meeting, and we've got the language pretty well figured out. Let me find it for you. Oh, I pulled it out. Here we go. It's over here. All right. It deals with scope of work, and it here's the concern I had was, it says, okay, first of all, there's a flat rate for meetings less 3 hours or less. Then it says meetings exceeding 3 hours will be billed at the standard hourly rate. Well, is that the entire meeting or the portion of the meeting that exceeds 3 hours? And that's what Lisa's understanding was, that it's that if the meeting exceeds 3 hours, that every hour or part of an hour after that will be billed at the standard hourly rate. So we just added that language, and that's all we did.
Okay.
Oh, we don't get any credit for our 15-minute meetings?
Afraid not.
Oh,
Well, there goes that motivation.
darn.
But Lisa has to stay for 2 hours.
So you want to get your money's worth, I guess we got to go longer.
Yeah, we'll just hang out and stare at each other for.
That's okay.
But that's the only problem. Other than that, the contract's fine.
Okay.
Based upon those revisions, we would recommend.
And the exact, thank you, Pat. Yeah, recommend approval.
Yep.
I'll second that.
I'll move that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I did forget to add something to our agenda.
Too late.
And we can do it after Mr. Ruzek's, but I would like to have a discussion about parking on H2 and Otter Lake Road.
Oh,
Make that,
That under our sheriff's contract.
we'll make that 9B after Township Day.
All right, moving on. You want to handle it, Steve, Township Days?
sure. Our event coordinator has prepared a little statement that I said I would read for our viewers on television. Mark your calendars for our annual White Bear Township celebration. Are scheduled for Saturday, September 21st, 2024. The celebration will be at Polar Lakes Park from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Free admission and parking. The day is filled with family-friendly activities, including live music, food trucks, beer gardens, kids area, vendor market, an automotive car show, bingo, and more. And to finish the day, there will be a spectacular fireworks at dusk. We know it'll be spectacular.
Of course.
So the main band is called Hurricane Blaze. It does a lot of karaoke music, so a lot of people can join in and get wound up for the.
I'll go if Chad goes.
No show band.
Well, there's another highlight. Okay, we'll have Chad up there.
I'm looking forward to it.
Patrick doing that just before the national anthem, I bet, which will be at 8 o'clock. Prior to 5 o'clock, our board chair has promised that he would say a few words for us. And it should be a fun day. Like I said, we've got arts and crafts and bingos, sky dancing, music, inflatables, kids rides,
Cars galore.
cars galore,
And we've
food
been
trucks.
very fortunate over the last 4 or 5 years. Weather's just been outstanding.
It has.
I haven't looked at the long-term forecast because it's too soon, but it seems like that's a great time of the year to have it. The only problem is there's a lot of stuff going on. So we're competing with a lot of different outside venues at that time of the year too.
But it's a great day to come and celebrate our township, all we have to offer. And a lot of hard work has went into this, so come and enjoy. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Patrick, you want to bring us up to speed on the parking on H2 and Otter Lake Road?
Yeah, so this came from a conversation with Supervisor Ruzek this last week regarding parking out on H2 and Otter Lake Road. We've had issues with people parking on both sides of the road through there, parking illegally, outside the frame of time that it's allowed, just a variety of things that the board has expressed concern regarding possible injury or death from people walking or running in and out of between the cars when they're double parked like that. 2 weekends ago, we had an issue with parking up on the grass, on by the fields and that kind of thing, that it's just it's gotten to the point where, the supervisors are getting calls from residents regarding what they're seeing. Staff has been getting it pretty heavily. We've had opportunity this summer to put up our electronic billboard out there in advance of the events. It's mostly softball. It is softball. Telling people they can't park on both sides. that kind of stuff. That seems to work pretty well. But both Ed and Steve have expressed concern about liability in the event that there is injuries or accidents are out there. The signs that are put out on Otter Lake Road and H2, where they come to a corner, right there where the softball fields are not our signs. Those are put there by Ramsey County. Chad, should we let RCSO or just the county in general know that that's their responsibility to be policing, if you will, and that residents should stop calling supervisors, elected officials, and or staff, and it should go to dispatch with Ramsey County.
Yeah, and they're county roads. We have no jurisdiction over them.
Okay.
So that's the way it should be done.
Okay.
Unfortunately, practically, we got still have an issue to deal with. But yeah, I mean, the county has got to step up on this.
Okay. Steve, you were saying about getting some kind of a memo to the county.
Well, I think we should put it in writing to the county that it's a safety hazard and it's their responsibility. If that's contacting the association and telling them they can't do it, sending the sheriff's cars there, but I think it's dangerous for the township to step in as an enforcement saying you can't park here. That's not our role and responsibility. It's not our road.
Okay.
I do realize on Otter Lake Road that is a window of time when they can park and window when they can't park, and the signs are clearly marked. H2 is the problem because the south side, the Tamarack Nature side, clearly has no parking. And it worked well with our sign out there for the 2 weekends, but as soon as that went away,
They went
had
right back to it.
another weekend, they went right back to parking, and the danger, it's a 40-mile-an-hour stretch through there, and any little kid late for a ball game comes out between those cars is going to get clipped. Mm-hmm. And it's...
Well, besides sending something to the county, like I said, we should send something to the ball association and the school. The school's got something to say about this. They're the ones farming out their fields for these ball teams. They got to be able to step in too, because until these people coming to these ball games, whether it's through the association or whatever, are told you got to stop doing that. The last time we had a cop out there, they were lined up. He said, "Oh, I'm not going to ticket all of them because there's too many." Well, that doesn't make any sense. So one guy breaks the law, 20 breaks the law. Well, I'll just let them all go. No. And I don't like the way it just says no parking. I'd like to see something a little bit better. No parking enforceable by fines, towing, whatever. You can't just put no parking. They go, oh, big deal. They're going to park anyway.
Until they get a ticket.
Yeah, but we're not ticketing. That's the problem.
But we need to be if they're not. Well, I think that's the message.
And the bigger problem is the simple fact that once you take responsibility for something, liability follows.
Yeah, that's why we don't want to, but they could step up a little too. That's what we're paying for. That's why we're rewriting their contracts. Could you put that in the contract, Chad?
Well, traffic regulations.
Start writing parking tickets.
I struggled a little bit with this after I had the conversation with Steve last week, just because, in particular, during events here, RCSO is really helpful. I mean, our cleanup day, they're great. The last 4 years have been terrific. They've managed traffic for us and everything. Township Day, they're here. I mean, they were great during Hockey Day, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to aggravate them so much, but
Well, I don't know if
Right.
that's an aggravation. How about just enforce the parking laws? I don't know how it can be aggravating.
All you really need to tell the county is, we've been receiving complaints and we're concerned about the parking on H2 and Otter Lake Road during events. And we really need to discuss how that's going to be handled.
So let me do this. I'll draft a memo. I'll send it to Chad for his approval. We'll get them as of right now to the school, the softball association, sheriff's office. Should we get it to the attorney's office too?
They probably want to know about it too, because that's a liability on their part too.
Okay. But in the meantime, until we get some movement on that, we do have fall ball going all the way through September. I think I'm just going to have Public Works put the electronic billboard out again and notify the sheriff's office and let the softball association know that they're not supposed to park on both sides of the road.
Yeah, there's plenty of, there is a big parking lot. It's just
That's what I
parents
don't
that
understand.
choose not to use it.
I know.
Plus, do they realize there's parking? I know it's behind the school, you know, you'd have to, a little more
There's
exercise.
plenty.
There is. So.
Matter of convenience.
So the other thing, so what I'll do when I let softball association know about the steps we're taking for this weekend, I'll let them know to remind visitors that there is plenty of parking behind the school and that they should utilize that. For now, let's just do that. In the meantime, Chad and I will hammer out some kind of a memo.
I mean, ideally, they know who, if it's a tournament, they know which teams are coming.
Yeah.
They should have a list of things that they should tell the coaches of each team that this is a no parking area. Please make sure your parents of your teams are aware. So there's no I didn't know that. Well, they do know that if they're told in documents.
I would suggest that what you say is if the Public Works going to put that sign out, that you send an email to the sheriff saying, to assist you in enforcing traffic laws on
I stated a whole
H2.
lot different, but you're more,
That's the legal.
We will put the sign out. If you prefer we do not put that sign out, we will not.
Yeah.
I want the county to take responsibility for the sign.
You'll hear crickets.
Well,
But at least we told them.
But at
least
least
we told them.
we've got it and in the record.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
yeah, because I don't want to be having this discussion after a incident.
No.
It's clearly marked.
We're trying to do everything we possibly
the
can.
rules.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
Might not like them, but follow them.
They have to do with me.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Okay, thanks, folks.
open time, we got a full house.
We must be doing an okay job.
Yeah, I need a motion to receive agenda materials and supplements.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adjourn at 7:37.
Who moved?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm surprised